made my money in England, and basically I had enough to retire. I thought I was looking for a place that was warm, a place that had some rule of law, if you like, and somewhere I could live in safety and peace. And when I came to Thailand on a trip to Australia, it sort of seemed to fit the bill, and I tried it for a year and settled in. It was okay. Basically, I played golf, sometimes go down the beach with the kids, and raised a family here.
The tropical beaches of Phuket are a magnet for sun-seeking tourists and, increasingly, for foreigners seeking a comfortable place to retire. Briton Ian Rance is one of them. He first came here 15 years ago. Ian married a young Thai woman, Sudha, and had 3 children with her. He describes their life in Phuket as a very happy one. He had no inkling that starting in 2008, approached by local moneylenders, she'd begun transferring all the properties he'd bought as investments simply by forging his signature.
We've been together 9 years and we had a family, 2 cars, life was great. So I didn't suspect anything. But she's certainly not buying any jewellery or buying anything that was untoward, or there was just nothing. She was fine.
Foreigners in Thailand cannot own land, but they've got around this by taking out leases or buying properties through a notionally Thai-owned company, but one in which they're given directorships with majority voting rights. That's what Ian had done on the advice of local lawyers.
I was a required signatory as a director, so if she wanted to transfer anything, it's a juristic act, you have to have both the signatures of both directors. So what she did was forge my signature to remove me as the director so that she could sign on her own. And by doing that, she got control of the assets.
But is it that easy? You've just gone forge a signature and you've lost control of the company?
You need to get a lawyer to notarize it, but 500 baht buys you a lawyer here. There is no professionalism or ethics in the lawyer profession, in the legal profession in Thailand.
So you can lose an entire company just like that?
You can lose an entire company just like that. It takes about 2 hours. This is the criminal case on my family home where I was living with the children, or their family home as well, of course.
In the modest house outside Bangkok, where Ian's family now lives, he showed me all the paperwork he's amassed as he tried to get his properties back. What it shows is staggering levels of fraud over more than a year, involving moneylenders, property agents, lawyers, and plenty of forged signatures. He lost 2 houses, 2 pieces of land and a restaurant worth more than £1 million. Ian has come back to Phuket with Irishman Colin Vard, who's been defrauded in a similar way of all the properties he bought here. Ian is heading to court for yet another hearing in one of 9 cases he's brought against those he believes organised the fraud. His ex-wife is now serving 4 years in prison. He doesn't think she got much of the money.
Sudha, the girl, never got hardly any, well, there's no evidence of any money being paid. In fact, she's paying interest to them. But it looks like she sold the house for about $500,000 baht.
What's its value?
About 10 million.
Despite his ex-wife's conviction, though, Ian has inexplicably been barred from suing some of those who've ended up with his properties. He's not optimistic about this hearing.
It's basically a war of attrition. Every time I come here, I have to employ a translator, and maybe it's going to cost me between 10 and 30,000 baht, regardless of whether the case is adjourned or proceeds. There's also obviously the costs of travel and everything else. So,
and how many times have you been down now?
This is probably 40, maybe 50 times already. Unlike the UK system where the case is there and heard and dispensed with over 2 or 3 days. Here you have a hearing and then there's an adjournment, and every adjournment is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months.
My embassy made a complaint to the governor's office 4 years ago about my situation. I didn't receive a single phone call.
Meanwhile, Colin has given up on the courts and decided to take his case to the Phuket governor's office. Today, after many months of complaints, he's lucky. The new deputy governor has agreed to see him.
I have lost everything and nobody will help me. So I've come here today and asked you to help me. I have nowhere to live, I have no money. It was stolen by people that exist on Phuket, who work in Phuket, who go around unfettered. They can do what they like because nothing happens. A police officer takes evidence from my file 3 weeks ago. Is he still in his office? Yes, he is. Nothing has happened to him. The land office who asked me to give them money to do something, they're still there.
If the courts fail these two men, what should they do then? Because I would argue that after 5 years,
you
the
cannot
courts
say
have
that
failed
if
them.
the court fail. You cannot say that if the
No?
court fail. No, I mean to say that because
5 years? It's a
5
long time
years.
to wait and spending all your money. I would say the courts have failed them.
ก็อันนี้ก็เป็น
This is very difficult to answer. This case is beyond my authority. We need to find out more about it. This case could take a very long time to resolve.
แทนศาลเองมันก็ไม่ได้นะ
But what about those Ian and Colin say took part in cheating them? We went to see a lawyer who'd notarized a forgery of Ian's signature. That's how he lost control of his company.
Looking at the case of this man, Ian Rance,
Inside his office, I showed him the document.
this is a power of attorney signed by you in 2008.
He agreed. The signature was his. But he did not want to discuss it or be filmed. But he later told me it was acceptable in Thailand for a lawyer to notarize a signature without the signer being present. The Thai Lawyers Council has told me this is not true. We went back to Ian's old home.
The lawyers basically drafted the lease and I read it and looked okay, and he said, you know, that's okay. No one can buy the property now with your lease on it.
Yeah.
Of course, little did I know it was going to be cancelled by fraud. And fraud can happen anywhere, but the problem is it's so easy here.
After discovering the fraud 5 years ago, he and his children were threatened and warned to leave Phuket. He rarely comes back.
What would you say to people who do want to come here, because it's a popular place to retire?
Don't come here. Well, it's not the right place for foreigners to be. The system of law is nowhere near as strong as you think it's going to be. There is no protection from you and you are victimised. There are gangs of people victimising you. The legal system doesn't protect you. The lawyers have very little ethics or professionalism here compared to what you're expecting from law firms you might know from the Western countries. The whole system is different. There are no ethics.
After 5 years and no progress, Colin has had enough. He's come down to the headquarters of the Thai police in central Bangkok with his 2 children. They sit down in the road to block the traffic, demanding justice.
We don't want to do this. We believe in justice, we believe in the rule of law. But there is no rule of law in Phuket. In Phuket, anything goes.
Any request by your side must be based on the law. And what we
The police are baffled at first by this loud, angry foreigner and his kids. Then they try to negotiate to get him off the road. He will get a hearing inside the headquarters, they promise.
I've got to think I win, otherwise I walk away. But people say to me, why don't you walk away? But I mean, I can't walk away. They were threatening me all the time when I go out. They were threatening me. They came into my house one afternoon, armed men, trying to frighten me. And I stood off them. I said, no, this is my property. And I thought the courts would support me, but unfortunately it didn't. It seems that even though your signature has been forged, that it makes no difference. You don't own the property anymore.
Inside, the police assure him his allegations of corruption in the Phuket force will be investigated.
we're not here to argue anything. So we're here to help you, yeah? So if
Do you not believe that there are allegations of very serious crimes that have taken place? Fraud is a crime, isn't it?
It's not the issue whether we believe it or not. What we do, we take serious actions against those police officials who get involved in the corruption. So that's what we are determined to do.
That was in early June. To date, nothing has happened. Ian's family have joined him in Phuket for a rare beach holiday. He's now remarried and has a baby daughter. It's the first time the 3 boys have been back since they were forced to leave, since their home was taken, since their mother was jailed.
There is no future, it's day to day. feed the kids, send the kids to school, make sure they're learning. I don't know what else to do. I've tried the government, I've tried the army, I've been to the Prime Minister's office, I've been to the Ministry of Justice, I've shown them all the injustice that's going on, but really they don't seem to be able to do anything.
It is very tempting with scenery like this to consider a retirement in Phuket. Many people have done so without problems. But when things do go wrong, it's worth remembering that help and legal redress are often just not there.